Welcome to our Savvy series. I'm Catherine Magana here with Rachel Ivanovich. And today we're going to discuss what wealthy women do differently. So we're going to go over habits, mindsets, and money moves that set them apart. So what makes women different with their money? It really is behavioral and kind of the money mindset. And, obviously there are income and inheritances to consider potentially down the line. But we're going to dig in a little bit and kind of have this conversation, some things to think about as you're either phasing into retirement or saving for your future. So one of the things is they think like CEOs, not consumers. So wealthy women don't look at just the bank statements and their investments. They actually look at the balance sheet. And a balance sheet is more the assets, the liabilities, and the equity you have in your businesses. So kind of, as you look at every dollar, what's the purpose and what's the intent? And is it short-term or is it long-term? So really diving in and looking at kind of the balance sheet of your personal financial situation, not just your business.
I think that wealthy women, and I've had to learn this because growing up we didn't have a lot, but one of the things I constantly have to ask myself is, what's the purpose of this dollar?
Yeah.
And not only just dollars, it's what about my time? What's the return on the investment of my time?
Yeah.
And so really making that decision of, is this move that I'm going to make, is it going to support my long-term vision for my life and my life for my family or my business?
And then it also ties into your goals too. Like what's the purpose and what are you doing with that money? So the next one is they don't do it yourself, their financial future.
Don't do that.
So yes, so a lot of wealthy women, what they do is they do have a team in place. So you have a tax strategist, you have a certified financial planner or financial advisor.
Estate planning attorney for legacy planning. You absolutely have to have, even if you think your situation is simple, it's really important to have that team and accountability partners. For instance, I have a client who I just actually talked with yesterday, and they said, we're selling our house now, and she said, the tax return was so simple, I thought I could just do it myself. I copied what the accountant had been doing in the past, and what come to find out, they had over depreciated their rental property by almost $60,000.
Wow.
And that does not create an ideal tax situation. So I'm still trying to figure out how to unwind that. Yeah. But it really is important, even if you think your situation is simple, you only know is what you know, and the internet is not always right.
Right. And then the rules change. I mean, right now we're seeing the tax bill come through. We're still waiting to see when the second that gets approved. But the reality is there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of regulations. Yeah. There's even the estate planning part. There's going to be some changes there. And so I think really looking at not just having vendors, but who are your partners?
Who's your trusted team?
Exactly.
And it kind of comes back to that first idea of the return on investment of your time. It's maybe you don't know about how to do your tax return or create a financial plan, but you're excellent at marketing. You definitely want to find out what's the highest and best use of my time right now, and maybe it's better for me to hire somebody to do that.
Yeah. Okay, so then they invest with intent, not impulse.
What? I can't buy that makeup sitting right by the cash register. Come on.
Exactly. And so also looking at investments, there's real estate, there's investable assets, and looking at kind of risk tolerance versus risk capacity. So risk tolerance really looks at kind of your time horizon, your financial goals, your age, and everybody's different on how much risk they're willing to take. But then you also have to look at risk capacity, and risk capacity is really looking at somebody's individual ability to take financial losses and their capacity for that.
If the market goes in the toilet, are you going to cry?
Yes.
Or are you going to ride it out?
Well, and that's one of the things with investing in the stock market and bond market. The markets
we've seen a lot of that this last 4 or 5 months. I mean, it's been a little roller coaster.
Yes, and it fluctuates. And so making sure that, you feel comfortable with what you're doing with your money. Is your money working for you? And it's, obviously, what we find is, usually you don't have a lot of cash just sitting around. You're intentional with your money and what you're doing with that money. And you may have some cash for an emergency fund, so that we're not saying not to have that, but really having a plan and allocating, what's for growth, what's for, preserving, what's my emergency
Every
fund.
investment has a job.
Exactly.
If it's unemployed, it's costing you money.
So usually we see some diversification, and then, like you mentioned, the markets have fluctuated a lot this year. We've had a lot of conversations about, where am I at? And, I think part of it is making sure we are following the plan, and this is what we're doing and why. And because you can't time the markets, I mean, it's really, really challenging. You don't know when to get in and when to get out. And so if you have a plan and you have a diversified portfolio,
and especially if you have a plan that's aligned with your values and your goals and your timelines, then you can have peace of mind.
Exactly. And that's what we're here for. If you would like a call or consultation with us, we're available. You can reach us at 760-692-5700. So let's go ahead and continue the conversation. So they expect and plan for life transitions. So obviously, we don't know what's going to happen.
I can't fly by the seat of my pants.
Right.
Come on, Catherine.
And so, obviously, there's some things that come up. We see occasionally are maybe there's a death of a family member, and there's some inheritances.
That's true.
There could be, if you want to sell your business, is there a strategy in place, or are you looking at that, forecasting that into your plan?
And a lot of business owners don't even think about business succession at all, or what's my exit strategy? I mean, they're putting one foot in front of the other. But it's so key because I've seen so many business owners who one of their greatest assets is their business. Yeah. And so many just walk away. They just close the door and walk away.
And don't realize it's worth
that
something.
It's an asset.
Yeah.
And so if they planned ahead for the sale of their business, they actually could walk away with a nice little nest egg.
So it was interesting. I just had a call this week with a potential client, and it was just an initial call. She's a business owner, and she's been married for 25 years. And unfortunately, her and her husband are now considering divorce. Oh, and so there's houses and assets. There's a lot of kind of moving parts. And so it is definitely something, that's what we're here to talk through. But obviously, it's really early in the season for them in this process. So, but, one of the things she was saying, she's like, I just feel like I'm in limbo right now. Like, I just, I don't know what's going to happen. And after us working with many clients, and we've worked with clients before divorce, during divorce, after divorce, and what we find is at least the ones that are kind of post divorce, they tend, things change and they seem happier, or they after they get through it. Yeah. Yes. And so it's one of those things.
So like you said, successful women don't wait for that crisis to start planning.
So they kind of know, okay, this is, if I'm doing this is the what if, or this is what's going to happen.
There's got to be the what ifs built in.
Okay, so another thing is they speak money with confidence. So obviously knowing about
having the conversations.
What's my net worth? What's my income? What are my expenses? What's my cash flow? They're fine talking about performance and metrics and looking.
And you need to know your numbers.
Yeah,
it's so key that we had a client come in yesterday and she said, "Well, I have no idea what I spent."
Yeah,
and so you really need to dig in and. Going back to don't do it yourself with your financial future, work with your team to help you get those numbers in place so that you know what your net worth is, so you know what your cash flow is going to be.
Yeah. And I guess that's something where some clients are different. Some clients we say, okay, here, if you can help put together your lifestyle, your expenses, and your income, which is obviously it's a budget. And there are a lot of couples and individuals that haven't really done this
at all.
Yeah,
so many.
And then there's some that you give them the exercise and they'll do it and they're fine. But there's some that kind of get stuck and it's like, I don't know where to begin.
We came up with some good ideas about that.
We did.
And jumping in just really quickly, core values. We talk about core values a lot and how if you align your goals with what's most important to you, it's more likely to happen. Yeah. But we also talked about that in relation to the budget and how, okay, well, what if instead of saying, okay, well, we're going to have dining out money and we're going to have the clothing budget and we're going to have the, whatever, utility budget. It's, what if we have a core value? We assign each of what we're spending, each dollar to a core value. So if family is one of your core values and you assign money to the family core values saying, okay, well, we can go out and eat and because and this is the amount we're going to spend, but it's tied to that core value.
I think it was also a matter of not feeling guilty. Like, for example, if I'm dining out a little bit more, and I see that now because I didn't realize it, but you see that value. But once again, like you mentioned, is it tied to my core values? Then, maybe you're going to make that exception or you're going to find ways to make that work for you.
Or you'll cut in other areas. So, like, for instance, if health or fitness is one of your core values and you're spending money on gym memberships or classes and supplements and so on, but you're saying, I'm not doing these fancy vacations over here because that's not what's important to me. It's more important to me, to eat healthy food, and maybe your grocery bill is really high because you're buying the highest quality ingredients and so on. So I think really,
I'll say grocery bills seem like that's another one that can be pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So there is a way to, and once again,
and I think the more you do it and work on your numbers and your metrics, and the easier it becomes.
And so we had a particular client this week that we're bringing back in, and Rachel's going to sit down and kind of help her
We're
do
going to
that
color
process.
code things, get all the pencils out. It's going to be fun.
Okay, so another one is they protect their time like a financial asset. And so obviously this is very important. You have to be able to set boundaries, and you have work and family and sometimes
rest.
Yes. Oh, I forgot about rest. I'm guilty of it. And that's one of my core values is balance. And so it's like,
oh my gosh, yeah. No, I actually just got back from a conference, and one of the key points that they were talking about is that doing your best and being your best are not the same.
Yeah.
And so for me, I always try to do my best, but I may not be at my best because maybe I didn't sleep enough, or I piled too much on my plate, and I'm not taking care of myself. And so I'm not going to be the best person that I can be, and I'm not going to show up as my best self if I'm tired.
Yeah. Well, and I think time is,
it's non-renewable.
Yeah, and that's all
Can't
we
get it
have.
back.
Exactly. And so it's interesting. We talked a little bit about core values, and one of my core values, my top core value is family. And I've been doing a lot of extra over the weekends. So sometimes if I'm home on the weekends, I'm working a little bit. But recently I've
I'm proud of you.
I know. I've been going out of town. I've been actually getting away, not working, and spending some time with family. And it feels really good. I feel really
Balance?
Yeah. It's like,
Imagine that.
So once again, being guarded with your time, protecting, resting. It's just one of those things that...
Or delegating and automating. And really, my coach had me do this when I first started my business. She had me write down everything that I was doing. From even using the restroom and eating and, at my desk. Because I get to work and I would just work until I'd work.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't take time for lunch or anything. And she said, you know what, you have to delegate in order to, and automate things in order to actually protect your time. Yeah. And so circle, she had me do this for like 3 months. And then she said, go through and circle the top, 3 things that only you can do. Oh. And then delegate the rest. Yeah. I was like, wait, what? I'm not answering my own phone? That was so weird. That was such a weird concept for me. But just making sure that you are using your time and highest and best use of your time, really looking at what am I best at and what is it that only I can do, and then figure out a way to delegate. To teach and train. Because you create systems for those other things because you think, well, I'm the only one who can do it. And Type A people,
they want to do it all.
They want to do it all.
Like, I can do it because I do it best, right?
And I do it quicker,
right?
And I'm more efficient. Yeah. But if you actually create those systems, that you can actually protect your time.
Yeah. Okay, so another one is they define wealth beyond dollars. So wealthy women have success, and they look at legacy, impact, and alignment. So legacy is, what are you leaving behind? Is it financial assets? Is it, wisdom or knowledge? Or, what is it that you're...
A business.
Yeah. Do you have a business? Is there a plan, to leave that to family? And also, like we talked about, does your money reflect your core values in life? And at the end of the day, I think it's, we want to live a purposeful life. We want you to have fun, enjoy life, be healthy, live for a long time. People are living a lot longer. And so it's, one of those things, it's, it's not just the dollars, it's the impact that you're making too.
And it's the authenticity. Figuring out who you truly are, and then how you spend your time and leaving that impact on the community. You and I both have a community as part of our core values. And so just really looking at, is our money reflecting what's most important to us, where we're spending our money? Yeah. So really doing the exercise to figure out, what's most important to me, and how do I want to use my time and money and all of my resources.
So are you building wealth, or are you just managing your money? So we're here to have those conversations with you about your specific situation, your money mindset.
I'll get the pencils out. We can do the budget.
There you go.
Color pencils.
And once again, we want you to live a life and create a life that you love. And so if you'd like to talk with us or set up a consultation, you can reach us at 760-692-5700. Thank you for getting savvy with us today about your finances. And until next time, remember, savvy up. Please stay tuned for important disclosures. The opinions expressed in this program are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or any specific security. It is only intended to provide education about the financial industry. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult your financial advisor prior to investing. Any past performance discussed during this program is no guarantee of future results, and the indices referenced for comparison are unmanaged and cannot be invested into directly. As always, please remember investing involves risk and possible loss of principal capital. Please seek advice from a licensed professional. Savvy Woman Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor with the SEC.